yeah, here. Why don't you do us the honor? One of you guys with the
All right, ready?
take one and only, baby. Here, I'm going to share this with you. This PDF was in the email, so if you want to like read through it later, but I want to kind of go through some of the things. Did anybody read it? Has anybody read this? This isn't brand new. This is like a month ago-ish. I just never have got around to it until today. I mean, it's brand new as in you're not going to see it, but this PDF is like a month or two old. Has anybody read this?
Well, when you get done showing it to us, why don't you ask who cares, after we see it? Is there any thing about this that, I mean, showcase pages are a who cares for most people. So if we're comparing it to showcase pages and we don't care much about it,
well,
we
Mike
might not care much about this.
This is where I start caring, is when you've got a product and you can view the product and you've got reviews. So if your
company page is a traffic magnet for you, right? Is that what you're saying? Or if you're driving traffic to the company page, is that what you're saying, that they'll be able to see this extra tab that we see? I'm not.
Yeah. So
don't know driving traffic to their company pages. That's all.
In the buyer's journey, if you're going to be checking out a product, people are going to eventually, as part of their research and discovery, go and view LinkedIn and use that for their buying decisions, just like they do a Google review.
Well, we'll see what happens here. It's a nice placement, isn't it? I was expecting another, their more button, another drop down on the more button somewhere like that. And that doesn't, that, I guess you can call that part of the buyer's journey too, but it's not in your face.
You can check this out. Go to review. I'm going to go back here because I was messing with this earlier. So when you first click review, but by the way, so review is just kind of like one thing in my mind with a product page. It's like the most important thing. Also, I'm assuming this is indexable in search engines. So if someone does a search for your product, if this is publicly indexable, this is probably going to be more real estate in search too. So if let's go back to Sales Nav.
Is it basically for physical products?
It is for B2B products, not services.
Okay.
Yep. So like everything we do here at Zico, we wouldn't be eligible for a product because it has to be not tangible. A service. But they did say, and I'll show you here in a minute. Remember how we're talking about what's the deal with ProFinder?
Yeah.
They mentioned in there that they're overhauling and will be adding service pages like product pages. So they're separating B2B products with B2B services. And there's probably going to be review capabilities on services as well, just a guess. But it's got to be what's going on with ProFinder.
Have you found any company any real companies got anything in place other than LinkedIn here? I mean,
I only went through and I don't want to like look and try to find ones.
It was a question if you had, not a question of looking.
No.
We expect LinkedIn to build the daylights out of something to try to get people excited about it, and if nobody does it, then they'll discover that. I mean, does Ford Motor Company or GE or any of the big, huge shops has anybody implemented this?
I have not seen it widely rolled out to company pages yet.
It's one person, and it's for one company. Have you seen one company anywhere done this yet?
We're getting a lot of questions about it, but we don't get involved in the marketing. So I'm like you, who cares? But they are asking about it.
I'd like to see something other than Microsoft. This is a poster here. I mean, other than LinkedIn, or maybe how about, does Microsoft have one? How about that?
I don't know. I actually do care about it because like when we are talking to people on LinkedIn, they'll often go check out our client's company page just to check them out. And if the end product that we're selling is a B2B product, heck yeah, I want 5-star reviews if I'm wanting them to buy. I don't see how it would not be appropriate if you're selling a B2B, if your client is selling a B2B product. Just my opinion. But if you're like,
It
this is
doesn't come
their,
without the time to take to build it and do it. You know, if it was a snap your finger and have it, I think everyone would probably, you know, why not? But someone has, there's more building to this than there is to the company page. You got to get people to come in and like it. You know, what if people come in and give you a 1-star review? It opens up a lot of things, Isaac. I love looking at it, but you got to think about, well, not all reviews are going to be 5s. What do you do
exactly.
about that?
Yep. Yeah, they make a point in here, if you want to read it later, they're saying that the first 20 reviews sets the tone forever.
Forever.
It's like, if think about it, if you first set this up and then people are like whining and complaining, people jump on there and it just does that groupthink. So you want those first few, you probably want to invite them, people who you know are happy, to set the tone.
The newest stuff
You're-
goes on top, so you can push stuff down, it says, right? Yeah, the newer stuff is on top. No.
No,
June,
this looks like the
the
older
oldest
stuff.
stuff is on top.
Yeah.
So that's where you talk about set the tone. That's what you mean, right? That's the first thing they see is the oldest. I
Show
would.
more.
It's
Yeah.
interesting
Yeah.
that how it sorts.
Yeah. This could also be a potential lead strategy for you as well. Like if we do sales nav and someone's like digging around and I do a review saying all the ways that we use sales nav, how many people do you think are going to view this? I wouldn't mind them going, oh, who's this person? Like Guillaume here, helping B2B sales teams in UAE. If I'm in UAE and I'm looking at sales nav, I might go, who's this guy? Free exposure.
Yeah, I'm at this point not expecting for smaller businesses, much if any traffic to it. I'm seeing this right now as more of an SEO play.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Or more like reputation management. It's one more, it's one more property, one more unique URL, and probably, if you can get some activity on there, because we all know it's impossible to get activity on company pages. If you get some activity on there, the Google's algorithm is going to tend to only show one page from a domain. But given that if you can get some, half a dozen people or a dozen people to get reviews on there, it stands a good chance of it coming up over your main page, is what I'm thinking as far as what shows in there. So I don't know that it really gets you necessarily an added one, but maybe just a slightly better one.
What does the URL structure look like for a product page?
It's /products.
Slash what? I mean, how far does it
Right.
go up?
Can you see this right up here?
I do. A particular product page. So that's it. Sales Navigator. Okay. So the product page is called Sales Navigator then in this case. /
I'm guessing just like when you do a company page, it'll take the name and then turn it into URL and everything's /products. I'm kind of surprised that it doesn't do like the company /product. But
yeah, that's kind of surprising. If you think of the directory structure.
Should we do this? Let's go like this. I'm kind of curious to see if this is or I guess we can go like this. Might not even be indexable. Maybe it's because they're still working on it.
I would love, seriously, Isaac, I'd love to see some other companies that are doing this other than LinkedIn, who wants everyone to put all this stuff in place. There's next month's work for their social media person.
Yeah. So here's, if you want to give the review, so complete my review. Overall, how would you rate LinkedIn Sales Navigator? Probably give it a 3 right now because of the broken message stuff and all the bugs with that stuff. 3. So here are these. You can't do good support.
You can only
don't wanna
pick
go all the-
four that they are those those are selected for everybody probably.
Yeah.
They look kind of common.
And then let's see. So those are the product strengths right there. And then you can get some commentary.
So where do you put the commentary in? Do you want to see that? See how that goes? Okay, 500 characters. All right.
Your response will be visible to anyone on LinkedIn. So anyone on LinkedIn means they'd have to be logged in to view it, which makes me wonder if they're not going to make reviews, the actual review content, indexable. What do you think, Scott? Maybe.
It's just
Maybe.
rolling out. It's just rolling out. Who knows?
Yeah.
There's probably all kinds of little holes like that we'd find that are just on next week's release or the.
Well, and then there's request a demo. What's
Well,
more
does that
there?
mean that that our company on our page could have a request a demo button, or is that just something that LinkedIn puts in for Sales Navigator because they own the platform?
Well, I'm pretty sure that they're giving you a call to action button here. Like when you're on a company page, just like view or get a quote or view event on events or whatever. This is probably just one of the call to action buttons, request a demo. Should I click it and see where it goes? Request a demo. Takes us to another page. Boom. More.
That page.
I
before.
can complete my review, delete it, share in a post, send a message, visit product website, report, give feedback.
Yeah, that is probably is a programmable button that you could say request demo or visit website or something else, right?
Mm-hmm.
At least if it was like the others.
So I think that it's important to observe that LinkedIn is being intentional about this. Like we've moved in the last few years. LinkedIn's moved from coffee shop virtual networking to product reviews is on the radar. Like that's a big deal. Matching service providers with vendors for RFP, that's a big deal. Like commerce, they're wanting commerce to happen through LinkedIn. I don't think that this is going to get shelved. I don't know how amazing it'll be, but I think it's here to stay. You could also use this as a lead source too, right? Like what if your client is selling something specific to a product? Like we were talking to a company, they specifically work with everyone that uses Zoho. So if our client only works with people who use Zoho CRM, we could go on LinkedIn to everybody who's given a review to the product, Zoho CRM, and then talk to every one of them because we've identified them as a qualified candidate, right? Could be a good lead source. Small quantity, but very qualified. Something to think about moving forward.
There's just areas of LinkedIn that are kind of dark spots, and they're trying to shine some light in some of the dark spots. The pages being one, groups being another. It's like, people have kind of moved off of these areas that onto other areas, the feeds and inboxes and social sharing, more than these big communities that are, or areas that are silos. And they're silos with the light turned off for many people.
If you're used to working with a company that does less than 5 million a year, this is probably not going to be like big, but for sure, when we're working with larger companies that are doing like, I don't know, $10+ million, and they have a global reputation, very often we'll receive feedback in messaging like, hey, I went and checked out your stuff, because it's just a bigger company that just happens more. So if for everyone here, since a lot of us are service providers, if you're working with small companies, Mike, I agree, it's probably not going to be huge. But if you're working with like like a larger company, I don't think that it should be neglected.
Let's find a large company and see someone who's doing something. Do you want to see if Microsoft's company page has what they have? I mean, they own LinkedIn. We would think that they've done something. I mean, I always get what the people who design something does, and they show all these things. In reality, is somebody taking time here?
Well, and that's the question I come up with is, why are people gonna, I'm remain unconvinced that people are gonna look for product information here versus going to the company's website. I mean, I can, which the one thing you do get here potentially is the reviews, but but there's a lot of competition for reviews. When you look at the established traction of like Trust Radius, G2 Crowd, all those kinds of things. And then of course, that's for IT stuff. And then just, why is someone going to look at reviews here versus Yelp or Google,
Because I think it's convenience with click-through rates.
Yeah.
So if you're talking to someone, right, they'll go to your profile, they'll go to then they'll click your company, and then it's right there.
Right. And I'll also say, another thing is, the one thing I do see is that on Google, you can only review companies, you can only review businesses, and you can only review their location, right? So even Microsoft, you're actually reviewing their location. You can't, there's no way to review LinkedIn. I mean, I guess you could review LinkedIn, but there's no way to review, say, Microsoft Word, right? And there's and that's the same is true of Yelp. And so G2 Crowd and Trust Radius are really mostly they're really kind of geared towards IT enterprise kind of stuff. So where do you review Coca-Cola? I mean, Amazon, if it's not sold on Amazon, where else do you find product reviews that are crowdsourced? I mean, if you look for most other products, you look for reviews, and they are editorial reviews, because there's actually really not a de facto choice for product reviews other than Amazon.
It's why a lot of businesses create business pages on Facebook.
Right. Yeah.
So Microsoft did not have a products tab. Is that right?
That's right.
So, well, and that's the kind of company that it's designed for, right? And they've known it was coming. I mean, they've had.
I don't know.
I
don't know who they're giving access to. I'm just reading that this is going to be going on. Maybe LinkedIn is only giving it to themselves so far. I have no idea.
Well, just proposed possibility is that URL structure. I mean, does LinkedIn just has always had their own products thing where they list Sales Navigator and LinkedIn Learning and those things? I mean, that may have been there for a while. And it's not that I've ever gone and paid attention to that, but.
So there's the /company/LinkedIn/products. Mm-hmm. This is the normal, just the normal URL flow you usually see. Mm-hmm. For this /products/salesnav.
And so my question is that a de facto structure, or is that linked to that would be where you would link to your external site, your external product page for that? And it's just coincidentally, because we chose LinkedIn, that it's on linkedin.com is what I'm thinking.
Could be. There's the products plural page, and then there's a click through to the individual product.
And my question is can that be on your own site, or is that planned to be hosted on LinkedIn too?
It's got to be hosted on LinkedIn, because you can only do reviews from this end page.
Yeah.
It also means, like you were saying, Scott, you're segmenting your reviews by product, which can be very helpful, right? Because people might love Campaign Manager but hate Sales Navigator, and it really gives better feedback if it's specific to the product than just LinkedIn, you know.
Right.
Interesting. So here, let me jump over here, right? So is this big enough for y'all to see? I don't want to like read through all this, but a couple things they're saying. So I think, yeah, showcase pages, I've never really found any value there as a user or just ever really. Uh, I don't know,
Yeah.
but also they're kind of buried. I do think product pages will be different than showcase. Again, and I think the big reason there is because of reviews. I think that reviews are going to be what drives interest, for better or worse. So they're saying they want it to be, you know, trusted community, yada yada, bottom of funnel. That's what they're working on here, is bottom of funnel. There's the examples that they gave, and it's just for LinkedIn right now. G2 crowd, right? So what differentiates product pages from G2? You might want to read through that, Scott. Let's see here. Here is the one thing that is applicable to a lot of us, because if you're working with a service provider right now for a product page, you're not eligible. So he goes, can I create a product page for, there we go. Services, no. Product pages are reserved for tangible product offerings to the market. Tangible, I think, just from the example here, is also a digital. It's like a SaaS. Products simply have a manufacturer, trademark, brand name, and a name used consistently on product pages. Web reference, link to product pages, define service as product pages, the intangible. Where is that? Here we go. This is what I wanted to bring up. We will be launching a services marketplace in the near future where service providers can add and promote their services through our platform. When I read that, I was like, oh, that's why they're no longer accepting ProFinder applications.
But they did also, it does seem like it could be, though, digital products. They did say tangible, but then
it's the intangible means it's an event or the performance of work done by humans.
Right. So you could sell an ebook or a course, or you could I think you could have something for a course here.
Maybe that's a good question.
That would make sense.
If it's a packaged course, not a live course, if it's a, you know.
Yeah, that's a really good question. That's a really good question. I would love that. Like if we have a LinkedIn course, I would love a bunch of reviews, and when people Google LinkedIn course, like that's got to be right near the top for in search results. Way easier to rank that than my website.
How do you get the product reviews? Do you have to go back to the people that have taken the course, Isaac? Or do they do it?
I mean, they could do it on their own, but I don't think that there's enough awareness where that would happen. You would want to invite them. And honestly, if it's a new product, I would want to be really selective with who I invite because of the way that they sort it. At least for now, they're sorting it oldest first.
So this might be a good time to just go ahead.
You might even want to like curate, like help them know what to say. You know, lead the conversation.
Yeah, I was going to say this might be just a good time to mention as a general strategy. I don't know if any of y'all are familiar with the concept of a review funnel.
Familiar with the concept, but feel free to expound.
Yeah, so and it's funny because there are companies that are making businesses off of selling this, and it really basically just requires like 3 pages on your website. What it is basically you have a feedback page on your website, and you ask people, were you happy, or would you recommend us, however you want to word it, but basically yes or no. And if they say yes, then you put them on a page that says, hey, fantastic, we really count on the on great testimonials from satisfied customers like you. We'd love it if you'd share your review on, and you give them
A link.
1 or 2 links wherever you want to drive reviews right now. Right. And then, and if they say no, they say, then we're sorry that your experience has been, less than great. How can we help you make it better? And you give them every bit of contact information you can, even, to try to try to get them to give you one more chance to salvage it. If not, then, well, you're screwed anyway. So, but at least, it at least tries to kind of try to give a last chance to do it. But then also what you can do is in any time in all of your invoices, everything else, then that becomes a universal link, zico.com/feedback, and you put it in the footer of your invoice. Hey, we'd love to hear from you about your experience, zico.com/feedback. And so then anywhere, everywhere, you can use that URL. And then over time, you can direct people to Yelp or TripAdvisor or your LinkedIn product page or whatever it may be that's appropriate. For doing that. So it's just a systemic thing of asking, a way of relatively automatically asking for reviews and directing them where you want them.
Yeah. You have to control where they go.
Right.
Isaac, were you going to where you could put one on your site?
I was reading this. So setup, right? So how is our product page curated? So I'm guessing what they'll do is they'll do like a best guess for some, and then let you do a request if they don't give it to you. That's kind of what we've seen in other instances, right? So how was our product page curated? We curated your page based on existing data from both your company website and the LinkedIn platform. So they're scraping your website. And also, just so you know, I've observed this from your company website, when I've been doing keyword search at the account level, like there was one client we're looking for specifically 501c3s, which is a type of nonprofit designation, right? Not C4s or 5s or 6s, had to be C3. We would do the search in company search and in the keyword field, and I would be like, how are these showing up? It's nowhere in the description, nowhere on the company page. And I go to their website, and on the homepage it would say that they're 501c3. So that's happening to a degree where they're pulling data from your company website. So, and data from the company website and the LinkedIn platform. The first things you should do is update your product description. So it looks like they're going to auto create it if they feel like you're a good candidate. And so then you need to update it and highlight key customers to drive even more engagement with prospects. So this is like curating the reviews, right? Highlight key customers. How do I get access? First, you'll need access as a LinkedIn page admin in order to edit and publish a LinkedIn product page. You may need to request this from the LinkedIn page admin at your company once you are a LinkedIn page admin. So the request is to be an admin, not for the product. So once you're an admin, you'll see products tab at the top of the admin view, which is what I was just looking to see here. So here's admin.
You see it?
No, so here's showcase.
I didn't see it. I was following what you were doing, and I didn't.
Well, I don't think that if you don't have the feature, or they don't think you should have it, it's not going to be in here. So I don't know that anyone would see this right now, but I think it would be here because they're saying to be under admin tools. As long as you're at least admin. I'm super admin. I'll see here. Once you're admin or super admin, you'll see products tab at the top of the admin view. Selecting this will give you access to the product pages that were published. So it's like they do it auto for you, and then you need to go and do quality control. So if you're working with a company that has a B2B product, it might get auto created. You might just tell them to be on the lookout for that, because I wouldn't want that uncontrolled. Like I wouldn't want it neglected. Each product page will have instructions on how to fill in the required sections. How long will it take to set it up? They want to make it easy. What options are available for the custom call to action button? Download now, get started, request a demo. Mike, this is what you were asking earlier. Try now, contact us, and learn more.
Alec, we don't
And
have it here on our page. We don't have it on our page. So I just looked.
Yeah. And like our done for you stuff will never be eligible. Just, but maybe course would be. Oh, let's see.
Microsoft has all kinds of products. You would think that one would be made for them, wouldn't you?
You would think, and I'd imagine eventually it will be. I'm assuming that they're going to use this also for like major on paid, right? If I'm selling a B2B product right now, the funnel's kind of been, lead forms, lead magnets with content, downloadable that kind of stuff. But if someone's bottom of funnel, show them your product page with 5-star reviews. Like, how that's got to be a thing with paid ads moving forward. It's got to be.
Oh, Susan.
And I think that since the big players that do B2B products, who typically will do paid ads, I think that'll probably kickstart a little bit of the awareness with reviews too. Let's see. Also, you cannot, how with a recommendation, you can decline it. You cannot do that with review. Let's see here. This is where they say first 20 reviews are the most important, setting the tone for quality holistic reviews. Let's see. Will reviews be verified? Kind of. They link to your profile. Will I be able to delete reviews? No, unless they're like obviously slander or self-promotion. But if someone gives you a crappy review, you can't turn it down.
I do like the fact that it's connected to a LinkedIn account, because boy, that is problematic on,
review sites,
it's problematic on every review site.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. So here's the slander. They'll delete those. Provably false. They'll delete them. Biased or sponsored, won't do anything. And then this is more just kind of humdrum stuff. There you go. Still have questions? There you go. The email's right there. We'll be happy to help in 4 to 6 business weeks. All right, that's all I got on product pages. Any other thoughts, commentaries?
I looked at other major companies and none of them had it. In fact, none of them had that bar across the top that says home, about, products, post, jobs, life, people, recent. Even General Motors doesn't have that user interface.
Microsoft. I saw when you asked me to do Microsoft, that was on there.
Zico doesn't have it. You're looking at Zico. Oh, you're in the admin side though. But go to someone else.
About jobs, life, people.
So type in. Go to General Motors. Microsoft owns LinkedIn. So I mean, it's great that
I can assure you from having worked there that General Motors will not be the first to hop on this.
But they show that there. They show it there, and I don't. I was on General Motors right here.
You want to share your screen?
Yeah, hold on. Let me make sure that I'm not wigging out. And I'm not. So yeah.
Here, let me make you. I'm going to stop.
Well, first of all, notice under the follow button there, under the follow button, I just have a different user interface for it. Yeah, I'll share here. Sure.
I'm curious to see the difference.
Yeah.
Give me 1 second here.
See, it's.
Yeah, you know what I also saw yesterday on a client sales nav account? I saw a totally redone. Oh yeah, that is really different. Huh. They used to have the left sidebar menu. That's why.
Yes, yeah. I mean, it's over here. It's just, I was following your deal going, no. Is this because I'm a different server? I have a different view, or is this that, I mean, why do I have a different view of it than you do?
I don't know.
Right, I can't explain it
This
to
is
you.
LinkedIn.
That's all. I don't know.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Who has the new one? You do, I guess. That's the old look, I bet.
Yeah, that's the old
I
look.
think
The
new
left,
one's
the
cool.
left sidebar is the old view. I was on a company page on SalesNav yesterday, and I was like, "Whoa, this looks really different." They had pulled in a bunch of insight about the company, and they even did like a decision, like a chart. They charted out who they thought I would want to talk to. Not like recommended leads. It was like here's the people. Hang on one second. Let me see if I can find that. Let's see here. No, I don't want to waste everyone's time, but yeah, changes were happening there too. So cool. All right, that's all I got on product stuff. I think it's probably more, I mean, realistically, it's probably something where if you're a client or you are eligible for it, it's probably end of this year that you'll get your fingers in it, right? I don't think it'll be first or second quarter.
Well, they've been pretty exclusive at some of their rollout stuff, as we've seen with like Live and some other things where people are waiting to get it and stuff. I guess, you know, and in some of those cases, by the time you get it, it's like the luster's blonde. It's not the hot new thing anymore. You know, we're off onto Clubhouse now or onto whatever the next thing is, right? I mean, Blab. I mean, go down the whole platforms we were on for a few months, right?
I could see how if your client is B2B product, and if a product page with reviews is created without your knowing, and some troll goes on there and gives a bad review, like it or not, it's going to lower your lead. It's going to make it harder for you to convince people to talk, right? To be interested.
I could see some people shutting the whole damn page down if they got some review and they got the ire of someone because they pulled a software release or something, or they no longer support Microsoft, they're only Apple, or you know, they're no longer supporting something, and the user community goes crazy about it, and then they end up shutting the whole damn thing down because there's no way to get rid of it. That's quite possible in a left and right world like we have right now.
Yeah. Yeah, my takeaway is I don't want to deal with managing a product page with reviews, but I know that if my client has a B2B product and there's going to be reviews, it's going to affect our lead gen efforts. So I'm going to have to tell them if they're going to auto get a product page, I'm going to say, listen, pick your favorite clients and have them give you just a couple reviews just to get it done. So when people do go check out the company and the product, it's going to make them more likely to say yes to my call to action.
And that's after you go through all the work to get it in the first place. It isn't just.
It's going to be automatic. They're saying they're looking at your website and your product page.
Going to be automatic someday, right? Gonna be there. Let's can't plan around that, can you? It's going to be there someday. How do you schedule that work?
I mean, all you can do is be on the lookout for it. Check in.
Another place to go look every now and then, right? Are we here? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet?
You just have to tell your clients, like usually we're working with the sales team, and the sales team does not do anything with the company page. Usually it's a different point of contact that's working with the company page because they're focused on, see Mary, they're focused on content marketing, and the sales team's not focused on content marketing. So it might even be just worthwhile sending an email to whoever manages the company page to say, hey, be on the lookout for this. Just give them that PDF.
You know,
That's what
there aren't many good options here, Isaac. So I mean that's you know one of the better of the bad options. Having someone be on the lookout for something. Come on, that is just, you know. Hopefully when they start launching stuff that they'll have figure that out. That people having to notice that there's a button at the top of the admin button on the management of the company page and go check and see if it's there.
I don't know. Yeah.
That's big, man. Go see if a button appears. How often do they go see if a button appears there and who does it? And what if they don't? I mean, just.
Well, it's their responsibility at work to do it. So I think it's worth giving them a heads up if it's going to make your life harder or easier.
I guess what we'd say is be on the lookout whenever you go to do your admin work that you're already doing. Just be on the lookout. There might be a button that appears there someday. Instead of go make a special trip. However, you go 5 times, it's not there, it's not there, it's not there, it's not there, it's not there. Number 6 comes along. That's all. But if you integrate it in with what you're already doing, I think that's something else, as opposed to go check every now and then for that little thing. You know, just be on the lookout. There may be other buttons that appear at any time on that menu there, right? I mean, who knows?
All right. Well, should we wrap it up? Anything else?
Yeah, I got to go.
John, you're extra quiet today.
Yeah, I'm just sucking it all in.
Cool. All right. Well,
letting the smarter people talk.
No, you didn't say much. All right, guys. Well, if I find anybody or if I come across anyone that has that's not LinkedIn, I'll let you know. But I expect it'll be more like end of this year where you see it more.
So we shouldn't be expecting a lot of marketing or a lot of buzz about this other than this initial little buzz here, because there's nothing coming soon, probably.
There's that. And there's also, they said that they're working on a new services platform. I think that's going to be big too. If
services, I mean, they're not, could be. Yeah.
They're not accepting ProFinder applications, which is like huge.
You see. They tend not to succeed at these things, just in general. Most of them have not been.
Mike, you're such a downer today.
these maybe I'm a little bit. I think this particular product is one that's gonna kind of go the way of polls and other things that were there for a little while and kind of went, because people's attention isn't going to go try to find more places to go look. If they're already looking, I get that. There's an extra button down there. You can see the stuff. I see that. It's a lot of work to maintain such a thing out there. And as soon as they get a couple bad reviews, the shiny object here becomes the puppy you were given. Here's a free puppy.
It doesn't strike me that they have taken in the lessons that businesses have learned from dealing with review sites. And the fact of the matter,
LinkedIn carry a lot of weight in this case.
I think the fact of the matter is, on LinkedIn, it's this weird paradox that, like on Yelp, I mean, Yelp ostensibly exists to serve people who want to read reviews, but the fact of the matter is that advertisers are still who pay for it. But there's still a lot of negativity around the advertiser experience with Yelp. So
I had a client, good buddy of mine, actually. I did free work for them, so we'll call it a client still, but they got a review. They do commercial leasing. Big badass stuff to Google. After 3 years, that DASD from Google goes on off to Foursquare to some other place. So they can take the equipment back and repurpose it and stuff. and they got a bad review on Yelp for their leasing service. And it was there for 3 years before it got found on a simple Google search that somebody did. And they had to pay a guy a couple grand to fix that. To get he took over. They got other reviews there in place of it, and the CEO of the company responded to it and stuff. But it was sitting out there for years before anyone even knew about it, because it wasn't a place that people go look.
Yeah.
Now that's distant. This is more where they are already. But
I could see a whole industry emerging where you were using your fake LinkedIn accounts to give reviews. I mean, it's already a thing on everywhere else, but on LinkedIn, too.
By the way, just
that's going to be a thing.
Anyone who ever has to deal with any of that crap, I spent years in reputation management, doing reputation management for direct selling companies. I actually built an award-winning service for that, so I know that's and yes, engaged in some of those. I like to call them gray hat tactics. So, anyone who's ever got any questions about that or ends up with any reputation management issues?
Fortunately, Yelp puts the newest stuff on top, so you can push something down. Here, you couldn't do that, or at least the way it is now. I think they'll fix that. Many of the things here, I think, are maybe being thrown out to see what we're going to pick apart, and maybe they listen and come out with something that's a little closer to mark. I don't know. The biggest single issue is you don't know who's going to get it, why, where, how, and all. We got to go look for. It isn't something that's deterministic. We don't know when we can go do the stuff and go do that. It's opportunistic. We got to wait and hope someone sees something and we can get in on it. And it's hard to plan your business around that. I'll just leave that.
Yeah. I'll probably check once a quarter and see if there's any way to do a request.
I'll believe that'll come, Isaac. I think those simple things are going to come. That it's just going to show up. You're going to know what to do with it. That's just the way it is right now. I believe that they're going to make it much easier for you to request to do this.
I tried the URL structure where it has the /products after my company page, and it didn't do anything. Sometimes you can get away with that if it's like a question mark that'll trigger a light box. You can do that.
Well,
but
think about this. There's going to be. Can you specify what the URL is?
I don't know. I don't know. Probably not.
Maybe. This one's URL is Sales Navigator. What if your URL was?
I still think that's actually not going to be their future structure. I think that's
I don't think that's their future structure.
They chose to link there, and that's actually an existing LinkedIn URL structure.
Yeah, I think it's going to go company / like it does with the others. I do. I think it's going to be a
company / product name. Yeah. You can't change your company page URL either. At least not from the page admin. So they'll probably take spaces and turn it into dashes.
Yes. Dashes, underscores, or.
Are you 100% certain about that?
About the company page name?
Pretty sure.
Yeah.
Here, 1 second.
We might have been able to.
Oh, there actually no. I'm wrong.
Yeah.
You can edit it. Yeah, edit public URL. It's right there.
Yeah.
Nice.
Because I did mine. Because it's been a while, but I recall that I think I did mine without the dashes, just because that's how it's styled everywhere else. And
yeah,
screw you, LinkedIn. I don't want to do it your way. I want to do it my way. Like, yeah,
dude. Yeah, but there's a company in like the UK called Zico, and they do like this super epic like wind surfing, like you've got the kite pulling you on the surfboard. It's so cool. And they're an older brand, and I'm always battling that. Such a pain in the butt. It's like, why do you have to be so cool? All right, I'll let you guys go.
There's a guy named Mike O'Neill, MikeO'Neill.com, and he's really cool. He's a lawyer. He plays in a band called The Lawyers, and when you go to his page, he's standing there like this, and the spinning guitar comes like this, and he's holding it.
That's hilarious.
And he doesn't look like me, because otherwise, the people would think that's me. I mean, I'm that kind of person. And there was a guy who had Mike O'Neill on Twitter, exactly the way I wanted, and he didn't do anything for years. And I was trying to get a hold of him to try to get it, and then he finally started using it and stuff. But there'll be some sort of a mad rush for the domains on this. Let me just throw that out. If you can affect the domain of your product, you're going to want to get there before someone else gets there and grabs that up. Fortunately, I got Facebook and some others, early enough. But that's the reason to get on a platform real early, is to get your name, in your domain. Even if it's Clubhouse and you don't use it, you get your name.
Yeah. I'm curious if what they'll consider a B2B product, like you're saying is a course a product, like is a book, like if you're using it for B2B education, is that a product, or is it something where they have to pay for it in a subscription way? No, probably not. I don't know. I'm curious to see. I'm curious.
I am as well. Yep. Lots of gray areas, especially for the people who pay for Sales Navigator and the high end. We tend to have those crossover products, don't we? More so than General Motors does.
So speaking of that, I took a Loom video and sent this to Jair last week. I've seen this a number of times where I'm in the normal inbox on in a Chrome browser, and the URL structure, it mirrors with all the strings of characters and like numerical plus the alphabet characters. It's not /inbox/numbers. It's like /inbox/2- and then this crazy string of numbers. So I found an instance where I'm talking to the person in Sales Nav, and there's another thread in normal LinkedIn, and they both have the LinkedIn.com. One's /sales/inbox, and then the other is /inbox because it's the normal LinkedIn. And I compared the string of numbers and characters, 2- and then all the alphanumerical stuff for the same person, but is different. But there's definitely something going on there in the inbox for that. So I think, yeah, it's being a little buggy. That's why I'm not sure what they're doing there, but something's going on.
I'm really nervous whenever they do anything that involves changing the URL structure, because just like
me
you,
too. We've
got hundreds and thousands of URLs stored in places that are at risk.
Yeah. We have in the past grabbed the inbox URL and added it to the CRM, so that like when you add someone to like an email sequence, you send them an email, you can just pop over to LinkedIn really easy and say, hey, just sent you that email. Did you get it? And then all of the stuff, when they changed the Sales Nav URLs, they didn't redirect it at all. So all of those URLs we had in the CRM, they're all broken, which is such a pain. So now what I think is just smarter is to make sure that whatever URL you put in the CRM, it's where the inbox is. So if you're using Sales Nav inbox, put the Sales Nav profile URL so that you can just click message, click their profile, click message, and vice versa on normal LinkedIn. But yeah, so if it breaks and doesn't redirect on the normal LinkedIn, that's going to be another big pain point, because so many people have bookmarked those threads.
So let me ask one kind of related question to this that you just brought up. If I'm looking at someone's profile on LinkedIn, that's a page view, right? If I go view in Sales Navigator, is that another page view against any sort of counter?
Yeah.
It's the same profile.
Yeah.
Is LinkedIn, if they're counting, I get so many page views a day, and I look at Isaac's LinkedIn profile and I click the button to look at Isaac's profile in Sales Navigator, is it going to increase that count?
Oh, I don't know if they'd be measuring them differently, or if they give you more. I don't know. My suspicion would be
a mutual client that this relates to, for example.
I mean, if you're using any kind of automation, they'll tell you like to keep it under what, like 250 days, the hot number right now.
Not using automation, but we hit 1,000 yesterday where we literally had 1,000 people on a spreadsheet and put all of them onto a lead list. And the next day we did 500, and today we just finished up with the third day of 500.
Yeah.
But I got scared of the first 1,000 because many of those we go to their LinkedIn profile, then we got to go to their Sales Navigator profile to add them to a lead list, which is essentially a / lead list that we're going to exclude, not a lead list we're going to use.
Yeah.
So I turned it back to 500. Wow, in the middle of the night, I'm going like, oh my God, I hope I didn't run that too hot. We're not using any automation. We're just manually going from a spreadsheet where the links are going to the profile,
Yep.
going to the profile.
Scrubbing. Yeah, it's the scrubbing process.
Yeah. Yep.
We've
3-4
hit
steps.
we hit a max on that when we did 1,000. So there was it's probably about a year ago now. We were onboarding a client, and I freaking forgot to ask during onboarding how many clients that they had so that we could exclude them, and it was like 4,000. So we had to like go through and exclude a lot, but to exclude at the account level, we had to do a company search. And so I had my team go through and do a search for the company name, and then if there's a company page, save it to an exclusion list, right? And once we hit, they're working through a spreadsheet list, and once they hit 1,000, the search would bug out. And this was exclusively on SalesNav. We weren't going to normal LinkedIn, but when we got to about 1,000, the 1,000th row, search wouldn't load. So it'd bug out. And then the next day when we got to about 1,000, search stopped loading. It would say like error. It'd say, it's not you, it's us.
And I just happened to stop us right at that number, literally.
Probably still close to about that.
So close, yeah.
That was on SalesNav though. I don't know about the normal LinkedIn side of things.
So we took a data dump out of Zoho, and then from it we had both. Some of them we had the Sales Navigator URL. Some of them we had the LinkedIn. Some both. So whenever we had Sales Navigator, we took that one because it was fewer clicks. But otherwise, we had to go LinkedIn, then View As, and then continue on. This client really needs 10,000 leads, not 5.
Yeah, lower client value.
Well, we've got, just like you, we've got a big exclude list. Okay, I'm burning up 2,700 for excludes. That only leaves 2,000 for target lists that I got to chug through. I don't have much working space when I've only got 2,000 to work with, and there's not a way around it.
It's not lower client value. It's lower qualification rate. I mean, it's that even what we can do on the initial screening, there's still going to be a very small number that's actually going to qualify out.
Yeah.
So I start with a list of 1,000. I don't know how many I'm going to get back from a list of 1,000, but I've only got 2 of those to work with. Now, I might have had 5 in a normal environment. I only got 2 to work with. So.
Yeah.
But we completed the exclude list today, Scott. This morning, I got the note while we were on the call. So next step in our project. I didn't mean to be so down. I see these things come up here that grab our attention and stuff like that. And then they, as soon as you get a little excited about it, it's like, well, it's not for you. It might come in the fall, all this stuff. They float these trial balloons a lot and to see what we think about it, which is good if they're listening.
Yeah. I first read about this last year. That PDF is the first official thing from LinkedIn that I've actually read. And then I've heard from some of these support emails relayed to me about the ProFinder thing and that they're changing something out there. So I think that the two big things that they're working on releasing is products with reviews, which is a big hairy world. So they're probably trying to go slow and take their time. And then the new services marketplace that I mean, just think about like freelancers that are using Upwork and stuff. There is so much opportunity for LinkedIn to capitalize on that ecosystem.
Oh yeah, and I've hired several freelancers through LinkedIn just because I can actually tell so much more about them than I really can from their from
Yeah.
from their.
Yeah,
from
if
Upwork
I see them on
advisors.
Upwork, I go to LinkedIn to try to find them, quite frankly. I
Yeah.
ask them, show me your
Yeah,
LinkedIn
I do
URL.
this. Yep. I do the same exact thing. Yep. Yeah. So I think that they've got their eyes on that horizon. As far as when it'll shake out, who knows? But I want to be on it. And man, I just know for sure. So when you're working with like really big international companies, I remember the first few times this happened, I was like, oh, I'm surprised they did that. And you see it happen more and more, but it seems like it's only with much larger companies. They'll go check you out if you're an international brand and just do a little bit more digging. I don't know. No, I don't see it so much with the owners and the SMBs we work with, but the larger companies, they're like, yeah, I checked out your stuff. So they're going through
They
that
have a
journey.
staff, and that staff needs to do things to justify their work, and they've got to push everything in every direction. I'll tell you, it was General Mills here in town. They were at a conference about 5 or 6 years ago. I'm in the audience and stuff, and they're talking about their multi-million-dollar budget for pancake website just to review pancake stuff. And the people who are in the audience are going like, you got $1.5 million to throw at that? Oh my freaking God, what am I going to learn from you? What am I going to learn from you? I'd have nothing like that. But it was kind of cute to see how they do this and that and all this sort of stuff. But the audience learned nothing from it other than, boy, they've spent a lot of money on it's an anonymous site too. It wasn't even from Bisquick, just to promote got milk, kind of thing, pancakes. So anyway, that shows the power of these big companies, that they have money to throw at stuff, to try things. They could just assign a staffer to it.
Yep.
But that staffer for you and I is looking at inbox stuff, doing searches, doing things that are a little more important than hoping someday a button shows up and hoping someday somebody never says something bad about our product out there, because my job's on the line. If you put that stuff out and your first review was a negative one, what would your boss say?
Oh yeah, it's part of their job. They've got to monitor it. I remember like forever ago when I was working at a marketing company, and we had started. This is like 2010 or whatever, 11. We're doing SEO, and then it's like a company can be ranking great, and then you see the conversions drop, and we're like, what is going on? Because we're doing our job, sites are ranking, conversions drop. We're like, oh shoot, you've got a 1 out of 5 stars on your business listing, and that's affecting our work. And so our clients are like, we don't want to keep paying you because we're not getting leads. And we're like, we're paying you for SEO. You need to fix your Go Insights related. It's going to be the same way on LinkedIn if you're dealing with that kind of client. But yeah,
there's a little more accountability on LinkedIn, perhaps you can, by the fact that you can link right to a profile and see who did it.
Scott's buying, free LinkedIn review, productreviews.com or LinkedInProductReviews.com.
Now, the back burner, if I decide I want to get it back into that space, I actually came up with the brand name, the business I want, and I actually set it up as the Gray Hat Posse.
Nice. That's funny. That's funny, dude. All right, I'm gonna let you guys go. We're past the hour. I got to get back to work.
Another great week.
All right, see ya.